Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to meeting number 17 this November 22nd, 2021 at various locations, including the Township Administrative Building. Due to the efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19 and to protect all individuals and to comply with the province's state of emergency order, council chambers are not open to the public to attend council meetings until further notice. As noted on this evening's agenda, any members of the public who wish to provide comments could do so at the meeting under the request to address items in the agenda by contacting the clerk prior to 4:30 p.m. today or by emailing their comments to the clerk by 4:30 p.m. today. Please note that any email comments submitted are to be considered to be public information and will be read into the public record later in the agenda. Regional Councillor Witteveen has sent his regrets that he will not be in attendance for this evening's council meeting. Any members of the public can watch this evening's council meeting by using the live stream link found on the township's website, as this meeting is being live streamed and will also be audio video recorded and be posted on the township's website for viewing anytime following the meeting. This time I'd like to invite people to stand for the singing of O Canada, and we will do that at this time. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, a true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. The Township of West Lincoln, being part of the Niagara region, is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The Township of West Lincoln, as part of the regional municipality of Niagara, stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Councillor Riley, you have the open petition.
I do. We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any changes in orders of items on the agenda? And I don't see any, Madam Clerk. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and or conflict of interest? We have a disclosure of pecuniary interest that was declared by Councillor Shelley Bradrick at the November 9th, 2021 Planning, Building, Environmental Committee meeting, being with respect to Information Report PD 122-2021 regarding the zoning bylaw amendment for 7005 concession for road in the name of JCT Services. Item P1-9-21 has been segregated from the November 9, 2021 Planning, Building, Environmental Committee minutes so that it can be voted on separately, which will be addressed later in the meeting. Are there any other conflicts or pecuniary interest? I see none, Madam Clerk. At this time, we have a request to address items on the agenda. I'm going to ask the IT manager, is there anyone on the Zoom meeting that is indicating they wish to provide comments as permitted by section 6.7 of the procedural bylaw?
No, Mr. Mayor, there's no request.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask the clerk, were there any members of the public that had emailed comments prior to 4:30 p.m. today with respect to a specific item on the agenda as permitted by section 6.7 of the procedural bylaw. Madam Clerk?
No, Mr. Mayor, there was not.
Okay, thank you very much. There are no appointments or presentations. And as noted at the beginning of the meeting, Regional Councillor Witteveen is absent this evening. Therefore, there will be no Regional Councillor remarks given this evening. I'd like to move to the confirmation of minutes, council minutes regular, October 25th. Councillor Bradrick, you have this resolution.
Yes, sir. Moved by myself, Councillor Shelley Bradrick, that the minutes of the October 25th, 2021 regular council meeting be accepted.
And can I get a seconder for that? And I see Councillor Ganaan. So are there any comments or questions with respect to the council minutes regular? I see none, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And any opposed? And just so you know, I can see all of your hands going up in the council chambers. Wish I was there, but that's carried, Madam Clerk. Moving on, we have the council minutes special from November 17. Councillor Ganaan, you have the resolution.
I do, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Moved by myself that the open session minutes of the November 17th, 2021 special council meeting be accepted, and that the confidential minutes relating to the closed session portion of the November 17th, 2021 special council meeting be accepted, and that the minutes remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with Section 239 of the Municipal Act.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder, please? And I see Councillor Riley. Thank you. Any comments or questions? I see none. So I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that's carried. Thank you, Councillor. And moving on, we have the street naming public meeting. Councillor Jonker, you have the resolution for this item.
I do. Moved by myself that the minutes of the public meeting held on November 9th, 2021, with respect to the naming of the street for up to 2 private streets within a condominium located at 167 Street, St. Catharines, Smithville be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder for
St.
that?
Catharines Street, sorry.
And thank you, Councillor Bradrick, is seconding that. Are there any comments or questions? I see none, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And opposed? And that's carried, Madam Clerk. Moving right along, under communications, we have communication from Gary Bruce, Executive Director of Employment Help Center. Councillor Rayner, you have a resolution for that item.
Yes, moved by myself that the correspondence from Gary Bruce, Executive Director, Employment and Health Center, dated October the 6th, 2021, requesting the Township of West Lincoln's approval of the regional transit model for Niagara West be received for information.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Riley, thank you. I'm going to ask, are there any questions for this item? I see none. So I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of receiving this for information, please raise your hand. And that is carried. Thank you very much. Moving right along, I have a communication from Stephen Barker, Chair, Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee. Councillor Trombetta, you have the resolution for this item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that the correspondence from Stephen Barker, Chair of the Joint Accessibility Committee, the JJAC, dated November 18th, 2021, regarding the fact that the JJAC was not consulted when Niagara Region began operating the Niagara Region on-demand transit system, be received, and that a result of Niagara Region not consulting with the JJAC, that there has been accessibility issues with the NRT on-demand app, as well as other potential issues, and that the Niagara Region be requested to include a representative from the JJAC as a part of their NRT initiative team.
Thank you, Councillor Trombetta. Can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Jonker, thank you very much. Any comments or questions? Councillor Ganaan.
Sorry.
thought it was on. Anyway, I'd just like to say that I have met Stephen Barker, and he does have, and some of you have as well, a huge disability with his sight. And I find it strange that the region did not consult with a disability council, did not really pay attention to that issue. And certainly I was surprised to read and almost alarmed to read that there's no real method for people to call for the on-demand transit. And so I just wanted to sort of add more impetus to this resolution. I think that it stands to reason in this day and age that they should have been consulted on this issue. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councillor, for those comments. Any other comments or questions? I see none, so I will call the question. All those in favor of receiving this, please indicate. Yeah. And opposed? And that is carried, Madam Clerk. Thank you very much. And I'm going to move on to the communication from Scott Williams. Councillor Bradrick, you have this resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, Councillor Shelley Bradrick, that the email received on November the 15th, 2021, from Scott Williams advising of his resignation from the West Lincoln Christmas Parade Committee be received with regrets, and that a bylaw be presented at the November 22nd, 2021 council meeting to amend bylaw 2018-114 in order to remove Scott Williams as a member of the West Lincoln Christmas Parade Committee, Schedule G.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder to receive these? And I'm going to Councillor Jonker. Thank you. Any comments or questions on this communication? We thank Mr. Williams for his participation in the parade committee, and so I'm going to call the question at this time. All those in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Moving right along. I don't have many mayor's remarks for this evening. Suffice it to say that there's some exciting things that are taking place, but I think later on I'm going to let Councillor Ganan and Councillor Riley mention some of the exciting things. There's a tree lighting, and I don't want to steal their thunder, and there's the parade coming up. So again, there's going to be some events coming up, but so I have nothing further to add at this time. Report of committee. Earlier in the agenda, Councillor Bradrick had declared conflict with respect to item P109-21, and as she lives in proximity to the subject property, this item has been segregated from the minutes and will be voted on separately. Councillor Riley, you have the resolution for the main minutes.
I do, Mr. Mayor. So I guess I just moved by myself that the minutes of November 9th, 2021 Planning Building Environmental Committee meeting be accepted, and that the recommendations contained therein be approved with the following exceptions, and there currently isn't any.
Okay.
Sorry. I jumped right through that. So with the following exceptions of item P109-21, and then there's nothing else just as of yet.
Okay.
My apologies.
Can I get a seconder for the minutes, the whole minutes there? A seconder, Councillor Ganan, thank you very much. And are there any comments and questions of the minutes as a whole? And the most of them, majority of them, I guess. I see none, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor, please indicate. And opposed? And that is carried, Madam Clerk. So I'm going to call on Councillor Ganan to do the one that is a conflict for Councillor Bradrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that item P109-21 from the November 9th, 2021 Planning Building Environmental Committee meeting be approved. The item is P109-21, a staff report number PD-122, 2021 regarding zoning bylaw amendment 7005 Concession 4 Road, JCT Services, Joe DeLuio, owner, and Eldon Derbyshire agent.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder for that one? Councillor Trombetta, there we go. I think I'm going to ask Councillor Trombetta just to get his hand up like 3 more inches, just so I can see it over top of his tablet screen. But thank you, sir. Any comments or questions on this particular item? I see none, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Thank you, buddy. That is carried, Madam Clerk. Moving on, we have Admin, Fire, Finance Committee. Councillor Trombetta, you have that resolution.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes of the November 15th, 2021 Administration Fire Finance Committee meeting be accepted, and that the recommendations contained therein be approved with the exception of items, and I am not seeing any.
Thank you. And can I get a seconder for that? And I see Councillor Ganand. Thank you. I'm going to ask, are there any comments or questions? I see none. So I'm going to call the question at this time. All those in favor, please indicate. And that is carried. Thank you. Moving on to 12.3, Public Works Rec Arena Committee. Councillor Trombetta, you have that resolution.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes of the November 15th, 2021 Public Works, Recreation, and Arena Committee meeting be accepted, and that the recommendations contained thereon be approved, the exceptions of, and I'm not seeing any items.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a seconder for that? I'm going to go Councillor Bradrick. Thank you very much. Any comments or questions? Councillor Jonker, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, just like to thank Councillor Trombetta for stepping up in my absence there and being willing to chair an extra meeting that night. So just thought I'd say thank you to him publicly. So I enjoyed my trip, but couldn't make it on time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Councillor.
No problem, Councillor Yonker. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I see none, so I'll call the question at this time. All those in favor, please indicate. And that is carried. There's a definition for reconsideration is noted, and the notice to rescind is noted. Moving on to other business, do any members of council have new remarks that have not already been stated? So I'm going to go to Councillor Jonker first.
Yeah, thank you. I just would like to remind our residents and ourselves that the West Lincoln Chamber of Commerce has distributed the bottles to our local businesses. So, you know, everybody go out, support our local businesses, and at the same time support the Toonies for Toys drive that is taking place right now in West Lincoln. And yeah, just thought I'd remind everybody that that is taking place, and thanks to the chambers for doing this.
And thank you very much. Anyone else? Councillor Ganand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you knew, my first comment this evening is about the hospital. There is still a hospital committee, but it has a new mandate and a new name. Moving forward with the new hospital bill, it will be called the West Lincoln Community Council. Still working in relationship with Hamilton Health Sciences until the completion of the new hospital, and then whether that committee needs to continue will be reevaluated at that time. The piece of really good news is that the RFP went out for the new build to pre-qualified bidding companies, making us one big step closer to having our new hospital shovels in the ground, hopefully by this late spring. A reminder that this Wednesday, now I've been telling you for a couple of weeks, but this is the Wednesday of our West Lincoln Shines, the community tree lighting event. And again, just a reminder that it is an outdoor event only with no option to move inside. So we do need to keep fingers crossed for good weather. So far it looks all right, but every day the weather changes for the day after, so we'll wait and see. And again, this Saturday, the 27th, is the winter market at the West Lincoln Community Center. So hopefully we'll see lots of people out attending that as well, supporting local farmers and craftspeople and so on. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ganand. And Councillor O'Reilly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to, I don't think I got a chance to mention this yet, but one of the other committees I'm part of, which is the Santa Claus Parade Committee, we have We have the parade that's set for the 11th, which I spoke with at committee there, and that's between 5 and 8 p.m., and those tickets can be purchased, or not purchased, but ordered online, and that's complimentary. The other thing I didn't get a chance to mention is that they're also bringing back what they did last year, which was West Lincoln Sparkles contest, which was exceptionally well received, as well as a coloring contest that's going to be available to the young ones in the community there. So the committee's working super hard, and they're very dedicated, and they're doing many different things that haven't been done before, so lots of great stuff going all around in West Lincoln here, and that was pretty much just my kind, gentle reminder of that we got the parade coming up on the 11th there, and if anyone wants any more specific details, if they go online to the Parade Committee website or they find them on social media, they're on Twitter and Facebook, and I think that's probably it for social media that they have so far. They can find those details there. The Parade Committee is very accessible, so lots of good stuff to report on there, and I'll let you guys know in the coming weeks how all that turned out.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we go to Councillor Rayner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is kind of a sideline with regards to our neighbors, but I just wanted to say hats off to what I consider to be a very brazen, brave move to going against the province when council rejected urban expansion of roughly 3,200 acres of prime farmland. On a 13-3 vote, city politicians opted to preserve a frozen boundary approach that will focus on future growth within the existing urban footprint. This goes against what the province wanted, which is our director of planning told us. They still may be in trouble from the province, but at least they had a survey done this summer in which 90.4% of the people, and I know I drove through Flamborough and there were signs on every front of every farm saying protect our farmland, which has always been my issue, as everybody knows. But I've never seen the city, especially Hamilton, which has done so much to destroy farmland, like put Binbrook in the middle of a cornfield. And all of a sudden now they're listening. Now you could say, yes, it's an election year coming up next year and they're going to do the right thing. Who's to say what's going to happen the first year of the following term? But this is certainly brazen. I'm proud of them and I hope that it holds up. But maybe it's they're going to start something that other townships will pick up on and realize that if Hamilton can think that they can achieve the objectives within the boundaries, that tells you that really they haven't looked seriously enough of filling everything inside the boundaries before they did this. They just took the staff report that said, hey, let's expand. It's easier that way. And they're not doing that. So I'm so proud of them. I hope this leads off to us down the road. And it's just a nice note that 3,200 acres is a lot of farmland, and hopefully it's still going to be farmland, which is amazing. But anyways, it's a sideline, but it's important. They're our neighbors.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you. I'm going to go to, are there any new items of business that require immediate attention or direction? Councillor Riley, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As if you saw my email, I sent an email just before committee here, or council, addressing one particular matter that I'm going to bring before council here regarding my resignation from the Citizen Liaison Landfill Site Committee meeting. So I'd like to put that forward, and then from there I'll speak to that.
Okay, so we're going to take up a small vote to enter in a new item of business at this time. So can I get I'll take that as a mover. Councillor Riley, can I get a seconder to introduce a new item of business? Thank you, Councillor Ganahan. That a new item be entered into, which is the resignation of Councillor Riley from the landfill site. And so then I'm going to ask, I'm going to just call the question on this. All those in favor? And that's carried. So Councillor Riley, I'm sure you have a motion now.
Yeah, so I don't actually have a motion written out. I don't think I could probably come up with one real quickly. That effective immediately, I guess Councillor William Riley resigns from the Niagara Region Citizen Liaison Committee, and that council appoints another member of council, possibly tonight.
Okay.
So I imagine the clerk will clean that up a little bit for me, but along those lines.
Can I get a seconder for purposes of starting a discussion? And Councillor Bradrick, thank you very much. Is there anyone willing to volunteer to sit on the landfill site this evening, or we can defer it to staff to see or if anybody has any questions about this. Councillor Riley, go ahead, sir.
If I could just speak to this, yeah. So I just wanted to provide a little bit of clarity first. So the Citizen Liaison Committee, they're an excellent committee, and unfortunately, just scheduling-wise in the last year has been really difficult with all the other commitments and committees that I'm a part of. And so, I certainly don't resign from this with any ill feeling. I feel, if anything, I wish the scheduling would allow me to be a part of this committee. It's a great committee, and so. Unfortunately, it was just more of I missed the last 2 meetings because of other commitments that were given to me. And just recently, today, I found out that the next meeting that they have, unfortunately, falls in line with another commitment I have. And so I just saw this being a continuous cycle. And I just thought it was responsible to kind of get somebody in there that can make that accommodation. And that being said, I would like to nominate someone if they should choose to accept that nomination to fill that role. I was going to nominate Councillor Braderick. If Councillor Braderick would be interested, she's one of the newer councillors, and I think she kind of missed out in that first round of appointments when we got a chance back at December in 2018. So I would happily make that nomination forward should she accept.
Councillor Braderick, you've been nominated. Do you accept?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. Anybody else? Councillor Rayner, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'm sure Councillor Braderick will enjoy it as Councillor Riley did. I sat on that for 2 terms. Initially when it was first being built, and there's a little house there that you think is abandoned, but actually it's where the meetings are held. And it is very informative and very interesting, and I'm sure she would enjoy it. Thank you.
Great. Councillor Riley, go ahead, sir.
Sorry, the last part of my thought I forgot to finish there is that the part of the reason I brought this tonight is because the next meeting is potentially scheduled for December 2nd, which would fall just a few days before our December 6th Committee of Whole. So that was part of the reason for the urgency of addressing this tonight. So I just wanted to put that out there so we understand why I'm bringing this forward.
Excellent. And Councillor Jonker.
Yeah, I was just going to say I second that
Okay.
nomination.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. I see the clerk light up. Is that okay, Madam Clerk?
Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
thank you. Sorry. Didn't know if I
No
was
problem.
muted or
All
not.
right. Then are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question that we receive and accept the resignation of Councillor Riley, and we appoint essentially Councillor Braderick to the position of the landfill liaison from council. All those in favor? And opposed? Oh, no, that's carried. Thank you very much. At this time, we go to,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
New item of business. I would like to bring one forward, please.
Okay. Do you have any?
I have it prepared.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Through to the clerk, I would like to move a motion to request staff to investigate and report back to council in a timely manner on any and all legal costs pertaining to any integrity commissioner investigation relating to any member of the standing council. If I could have a seconder for that, please.
Okay, so we're going to introduce a new item of business. First and foremost, just to introduce a new item of business, you've heard Councillor Rayner. Can I get a seconder to introduce a new item of business? Councillor Riley, thank you. So on this entering a new item of business, go ahead. We're going to take up the vote on entering this new item of business. All those in favor? And that's carried. And so, Councillor Rayner, you have you can clarify your motion again.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a request for staff to investigate any costs by any member of this council as pertaining to any integrity commissioner investigation, so that all the numbers are out prior to the budgets coming up, so that we have an idea of the incurred costs. Publicly, it was announced last week that $32,000 had been incurred in legal fees by the region due to our mayor, and it became public. So because that became public and it's a regional situation, which is our tax dollars, 55% of our tax dollars go to the region, but there are another 11 municipalities that also had to pay for this. Now I would like to know what the costs are that our legal fees are pertaining directly that the Township of West Lincoln had to pay, and any other members of council that may also have been incurred costs through any integrity commissioner investigation. It's basically the wholesale council, break it all down and bring it forward at the earliest convenience. I was thinking maybe the council meeting in January, give a little bit of time because December is really kind of short. And at the latest, obviously, February before budget time, so that we've also got a handle on any other incurred costs, which to this point have not been disclosed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Riley, thank you. Any comments or questions? Councillor Riley, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'll support this. I think it's important for the sake of transparency that that information's out. I can't see why anybody would oppose this, to tell you the truth, because, you know, as it addresses any member, sitting member of current council here, I think, you know, it's important that the public are fully informed, and we know how things are FYIable anyways with regarding our remuneration and, you know, our protocol accounts. So I think this is just kind of one and the same, and I think that's, I thank Councillor Rayner for bringing this forward and providing that extra transparency to our community. So I'll be supporting this, and I'll also call for a recorded vote, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Other? Councillor Trombetta?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm on there. Yeah, I guess with this new report coming out, I guess it's pretty hard for any member of council not to kind of support this report. It's kind of hard because if you don't really support this sort of motion, then it looks like we have something to hide. So as a member of an elected official, it's kind of important. I guess it came out of nowhere, but it's kind of hard not to support something, or else it looks like we're hiding something. So I guess I will be in support of this when it comes forward as well. Thank you.
Any others? Thank you. Any others? I see none, so I'm going to pass the floor to the clerk to take up a recorded vote.
One question.
Oh, okay. Madam Clerk, just pause for a second. Councillor Rayner wants to make one more question.
Yes, if we could, Mr. Mayor, put a date. I said January. I did say February. I kind of left it to the CAO or the clerk to fit the number in. All I'm saying is before budget time. That's all I'm asking. It's up to them when they can do it.
Madam CAO.
Thank you for the question. So through you, Mayor Bylsma, to Councillor Rayner. We'll have to look at the scope of this request and then we'll determine, but I understand your guidelines.
Councillor Jonker, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, to maybe our COO as well. Do we not kind of have this in place already where, like, when we do spend money, it's public knowledge? I guess what I'm asking is have this in place already, that what we spend and whatever is public knowledge, it's not something that we hide anyway. So to me, I'm almost wondering if this is a redundant thing to be doing. I just wanted to double check that we're not saying do something when we actually kind of already do it anyways, and the public can access it if they want.
Madam CAO.
Through you, Mayor Bylsma, to Councillor Jonker. I believe we present the information under our legal category. I don't think we do a breakout. But again, this is new business and I hadn't been brought to my attention, so I have to do a bit of homework before I can confirm. And if I have difficulties, I'll raise it at the December meeting if that's all right.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'm going to pass. Oh, Councillor Rayner, go ahead.
Yes, through to Councillor Jonker. In all my years of sitting on council, I've never seen legal broken down. It's a category. These are the incurred costs, legal for whatever. They've never said here are the 45 items that we've incurred legal, direction or consultation for. It's just been a number. I don't believe that it's ever been defined piece by piece by piece, added up, and there's the bottom line. I could be wrong, but I don't recall ever seeing it.
I'm going to go to the CAO because I think there's something important to say about that. Go ahead, Madam CAO. Oh, you're still on mute. There we go. There you go. You're good now.
Sorry, you missed my very important speech. Sorry. Through you, Mayor Bylsma, to Councillor Rayner. you just raised a really good point. And depending on the nature of this, I might have to figure out what has to be done in a confidential way. Okay.
Okay. Councillor Riley.
Okay, just kind of adding on to that, I'm very interested to see where that goes because we kind of act in very similar nature as the region. I can't imagine there being a confidential matter that would prohibit that in any way, considering that we're all elected members and everything we do from emails to things in the public is all open to scrutiny. And so again, I don't really understand how this is any different. We can't hide how much we make as councillors. Why would there be a potential risk? So I guess through you, Mr. Mayor, to our CAO, if there's something that's coming to their immediate mind, why is there a concern of risk of disclosing what I would assume would be a very straightforward and transparent process? If we're worried about naming names, again, I don't think we have that protection under, the Municipal Act because, it's no different than people understand that we make, about $20,000 as a remuneration a year. How is that any different than if we were to incur a few $1,000s in legal expenses? Is that not, I guess you don't know, but to me, I feel like that is information that the public should be aware because it's actually costing them, which again, this is not a personal matter between a land property dispute. This is about, council as a whole and their behavior or results of their behavior. So again, I kind of struggle with that response. So if you can provide a little bit more clarity of why you have that hesitation.
Madam CAO.
Again, through you, Mayor Bylsma, to Councillor Riley, this is a brand new off the floor question. I don't know the answer to some of these, and so I'm preparing you that I will do our homework, and I'll talk to the region and see how they were able to do it, and I'll figure out what we can report on and what we cannot report on.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Rayner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As what Councillor Riley said, whatever the mechanism and process that the region went ahead with and made it public, which was a surprise. I didn't know they were going to do this, but since they've done it, whatever the process is, I would say what's good for the region should be good for the township. The only other question is that the only incurred cost? Obviously, there's going to be probably more down the road. Hopefully not, but there may be. And what may or may not have been disclosed, as you said, that may be in confidential. If that's not the total number, then I imagine that if they had a confidential meeting in the region, they would figure out what the rest of it is and for some reason not be able to make public. But if that's the case in the township, then I would also expect the CAO to hold a confidential meeting and say, this is what we can say and this is what we can't say. But I agree with Councillor Riley. I don't think we could hide it. This is expenses that are incurred by members of council, and it's public knowledge, and it should be disclosed.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Councillor
This will be my last time, Mr. Mayor. So I just want to add on actually something Councillor Rayner mentioned, not just related to the region, but Grimsby also had to come forward with costs I believe their mayor incurred, as well as Pelham. And so I think if you're going to be exploring for the mechanism that needed to come under, I think you could probably reach out to some of our local area municipalities and also inquire through them, because I know they were able to come forward with those specifics. I think they were isolated matters, but I imagine it'd have to be in the same umbrella. If there's concern that we can't disclose this, then I certainly want that clear and front and center so it doesn't look like we're trying to oppress this. I feel like this is very simple information, but that's just my perception of this, and so maybe I just misunderstood, but I think this is something that should be out there for the sake of transparency, and I don't think we have anything to hide. So,
okay. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Trombetta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just need the motion read again. Is there a firm date here, or are we coming back? Like, I've heard January, February, and then everything got interrupted. Is there a firm date on this?
The firm deadline is, as I understand it, the firm deadline is by budget.
So now it's pushed to budget? Okay. I just want to hear the motion again. That's fine.
It's at least by budget. Okay, that's what the so I'm going to ask Madam Clerk to just read it and then take up the question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hope I have this right, but I can play with the resolution. I just was taken off guard with respect to this matter as well, so I didn't know it was coming. So The resolution I have is that direction to staff to report back regarding costs for integrity commissioner services for costs incurred for each member of council, and that the information be presented at a future standing committee or council meeting prior to budget deliberations.
Okay. Simple enough. Madam Clerk, please take up the vote. Oh, wait a minute. I see Councillor Trombetta. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry through you, Mr. Mayor, to the clerk. I know Councillor Rayner's motion was for integrity commissioner only. I didn't hear that in that. Did you say that? I didn't hear you probably through the feedback here. Sorry, was that in there? Then
Yes,
my mistake, Madam Clerk. Thank you.
Direction to report back regarding costs for integrity commissioner services.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear that. My mistake. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
That's okay. Okay, Councillor Riley,
Support.
Councillor Bradrick,
Support.
Councillor Ganaan,
Support.
Councillor Rayner,
Support.
sorry, Councillor Jonker,
Support.
Councillor Trombetta,
Support.
Mayor Balsma.
Support.
Thank you. That's unanimous, 7-0, carried.
Okay, thank you. And then I'm going to ask one more time, are there any other new items of business? Then I'm going to move on to bylaws. Councillor Rayner, you have the resolution for bylaws.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that leave be granted to introduce bylaws 2021-96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, and 106, and 107, and that the same shall be considered to have been read a first, second, and third time with one reading, and are hereby adopted, and that the mayor and clerk be and hereby authorized to sign and affix the corporate seal thereto. Any rule of this council to the contrary is notwithstanding.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Jonker. Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions? I see none, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. So there are no confidential matters. So being that we've concluded our business, I would declare this meeting adjourned at the hour of 7:43. Thank you for your work this evening.
Good night.
And
Good night.
Night.
Have a good night.